if you see someone acting differently, don't just assume that it's a bad kid, that they're bad parents. Maybe you think there might be something going on that you just don't understand, that you don't have a window into in your life, or that you haven't seen in your life yet, and maybe allow for a little bit of grace and have a little bit of empathy. Hey guys, this is going to be a tough one, and I guess you could say it's because of autism, but not because of what you would think. I am just really tired of people. Today, I am going to talk about how if you're out and you see a kid looks like they're doing something that you don't think a kid their age should be doing, or is using something that you don't think a kid their age should be using, then maybe instead of judging the parent and judging the kid and being like, whoa, those are the worst parents ever. That child shouldn't be in a stroller. That child shouldn't be in a high chair. That child shouldn't be doing that in church. Maybe pause and think, maybe something is going on here that I don't understand. And maybe there's a reason for that behavior. Hit the subscribe button down below so you can stay updated on all the latest around here. And before you leave, let me know if you guys have ever experienced anything like this. If you're a family and you have a kid on the spectrum, I have a feeling you probably have at least one or a dozen stories to tell that are similar to the stories that we have just from this weekend. The funny thing about this weekend is that Maggie had a good weekend, especially a good weekend while we were out in public. Both of the girls did. We went out for pizza, and Maggie does really well in restaurants because she's really excited about going out to eat. She made no loud sounds, and that's probably why people at the table next to us had such a problem with the fact that she was in a high chair. We have to have Maggie in a high chair, you know, like a restaurant high chair, one of those wooden high chairs. And Maggie's small. She's like 50 something pounds. So she's small enough that she easily fits in one of those high chairs. The reason she has to sit in a high chair still is because of the eloping thing. If we put her in a chair, we've tried it many, many times, she gets up and she just sprints over and over again and over and over again and over again. Because of the whole eloping thing. It's just like sensory overload, and it's too much for her. The second that she's in a high chair, she just relaxes and she's happy and she just sits there and she's quiet and she waits for her food and she's fine. We have worked at it, we've tried different things. We have not yet been able to make the transition away from a high chair. It's never been a problem. The hostess was awesome about it. She totally understood. They had enough high chairs. So Maggie got in her little high chair, she sat in it, she wasn't making any noise. Which was probably why the two high school boys and their mother at the table next to us had a big problem with her being in the high chair and were making a big deal about it and staring at her and gawking and being rude. And I mean, they were nicely dressed, nice looking people who just didn't have manners, which kind of ruined lunch for us. If you're in a restaurant and you see a kid that, especially, I mean, like the girls both did good. Tessie and Maggie didn't make any noises at lunch. They had an otherwise awesome lunch, which, I mean, that's really good for our family, so please don't ruin it like that. After that, we tried to recover from that by going to a playground. There's 2 playgrounds in our area that are entirely fenced, but one of those playgrounds is near a pool, and Maggie knows the pool is there, and pretty much if we go there, she will obsess over the pool. So that one is not a possibility. We went to the other one. A ton of kids there playing. Maggie just kind of wandered around. She didn't touch anyone. She went down the slide a few times. She went and sat on a little swing by herself and kind of was swinging back and forth, pushing herself with one foot. Didn't bother anyone. I was staying with her, and for a while Paul and I switched off, and Paul was right next to her the entire time. And I mean, we are really close to her. But there was a grandmother there who apparently was very, very bothered by the fact that she was there, who pretty much spent the entire time giving us dirty looks for being there. And Paul thought he was going to have to say something to her. I thought I was going to have to say something to her because, yeah, her entire playground experience was glaring at us. So that was also fun. I hope Maggie was oblivious to that, because, I mean, it can't be easy to be like 8 years old and have this person that's glaring at you the whole entire time you're at the playground. And Maggie's really, really perceptive. So I can't even say that she was oblivious. I mean, I'm hoping she's oblivious, but the kid picks up on like everything, even when she doesn't seem to. So And then there's always church, which is fun. For Maggie's entire life, we stayed outside pretty much of church. At our old church, we stayed in the vestibule the entire time, which is basically behind glass doors. We never ever went in because it has been very clear for her whole entire life that the sounds that she makes bother the congregation, and we haven't been welcome pretty much anywhere. We went to a new church where we stay in the cry room the entire time, and we never ever come out of the cry room except for communion. Some people are nice, some people are mean. It's hard because we have gotten really, really nice comments, but it's always the really, really mean, cruel comments that stand out to you. I try to cling to the nice comments, but it is the mean comments that are like, of course, the ones that you remember, even when you try not to. And today, of course, there was like, I walked out with Maggie because we just go up for communion, and I walk out with Maggie, and there was this blonde woman standing there who, when I walked out to walk up with her holding her hand for communion, was like, and I made eye contact with her because that's my response now. I'm a quiet, shy person who's generally reserved, but when people glare at us now, I just make eye contact with her, and she just stood there like. Most people look away. Most people are embarrassed when you make eye contact back with them, but this woman wasn't. I don't know, this weekend was just like the land of people who, when you make eye contact back, were not embarrassed by their rudeness. They just like kept staring back. Whatever. Okay, yeah, be rude in the communion line. That's great for you. And so I kind of guided Maggie past her, and she was still staring at us when we went up for communion, which is good for her. And I don't know, it is like part of Maggie's like yearly evaluation, and what it says every year is that it is apparent when you meet her that she is disabled. Her expressive language is basically like not quite as good as James when he was 2 years old. Generally, people can tell. Usually, sometimes people, if she's like perfectly quiet, sometimes people can't tell right away, but usually people can tell within a minute or two that something's going on. So sometimes we'll meet with some hostility like for a few seconds, and then you'll see people like start to get it, and they'll like immediately become kinder. That happens to us a lot, but other times people don't get kind. People just are cruel, and that's discouraging. I guess the message of this, it's not about people being cruel. And I was really hoping this was going to be like 2 minutes long. The point of this whole thing was just, if you see someone acting differently, don't just assume that it's a bad kid, that they're bad parents. Maybe think that there might be something going on that you just don't understand, that you don't have a window into in your life, or that you haven't seen in your life yet, and maybe allow for a little bit of grace and have a little bit of empathy. I don't know. Having a kid with autism, I've seen a lot of fear about autism, but I'm way more afraid of neurotypical people who have no mercy and no compassion than of autism. Autism isn't something to be afraid of. Regular people that find it in their hearts to be a tiny bit merciful, a tiny bit compassionate, a little bit understanding, that's what scares me. That's what I think is terrifying. That's what scares me for my girl's future, for my kid's future. Anyways, guys, that is it for today. If you want to share your own experiences in the comment section, I am definitely here to listen. Jamesy needs me right now, so I will say goodbye for now. Mom! And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mom! Hold on, Jamesy, I'll be right there. Bye. Mom!